Hello YouTube, and welcome to a YouTube exclusive. This is our review of the Poltergeist, the remade film of the classic Poltergeist trilogy. I don't know if it's about all three, if it's about the one, but you're the one who's gone to see it, so tell us all about it.
So yeah, after Tomorrowland, our review, which is on episode 25 of Real View, you should go give that a listen.
Absolutely.
Poltergeist is the remaking of the famous horror film Poltergeist. This film has been rated 5.4 out of 10 to start off with.
Is it?
And it's along the same lines, you know, it's a family who moves into a house and there's poltergeists there who start manipulating their electronics, their toys and their things. Everything is like a horror element.
Yeah.
It plays on a lot of the older quips. Do you see the old Poltergeist film?
I haven't. I know enough about it.
It plays a lot on them, like, you know, the haunted tree grabbing the young child,
television,
and the clowns, and the television. It plays on all those. So I call this more of a homage, possibly a bit of a remake. It does feel like an exact remake.
Right. Okay. What do you prefer when it comes to remakes? Do you prefer for it to stick to its original roots, or do you prefer to see something a little bit different?
I'd like to see the original roots played around a little bit.
Okay.
Like roots, trees. Nice one.
Nice. I don't get it.
Poltergeist is made by David Lindsay Abair and apparently written also by Steven Spielberg. The story was.
Spielberg?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because he had something to do with the original Poltergeist series. I don't know if it was
I wouldn't know,
originally.
I'm not educated.
I think he produced it. I'm not sure. Sorry, horror fans. I don't know.
Also stars Sam Rockwell, Rosemary DeWitt, and Kennedy Clements. The latter two I don't know much about. Sam Rockwell,
someone we've mentioned
Sam
before?
Rockwell is a huge actor. He's in Seven Psychopaths. He plays the main character, the guy with the dog.
Yeah.
He's a great actor in my opinion. Two of my favourite films with him in. I mean, I didn't like Seven Psychopaths too much, but I liked his character in it.
Yeah.
And Moon was an amazing film.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not in our throwback theatre list, it needs to be.
Absolutely.
In this, his talents are wasted. Sam Rockwell has not really been in the eyes of Hollywood films or just films in general for a while. And in this, like I said, his acting talents are a little bit wasted. He's just playing a father who has some crazy shit go on to his family and himself.
Sure, I mean, the principles for horror film stories, it's not something that you normally go in to see, is it? You don't normally go into horror films to expect. The story was amazing, the acting was amazing. You just go to be scared shitless. I mean,
suppose the film...
which is why I don't like the genre that much.
I'm thinking that's why Sam Rockwell picked it. Sam Rockwell hasn't done many gigs in a while,
and maybe
to get him into it. But it definitely isn't something that makes me look forward to watching him in the future. You mentioned something interesting. You know, you just go there to get scared. That's a really interesting point. In which was I scared? I watched the trailer for Poltergeist and. It really did scare me, and the reason I wanted to watch it, in the episode, the reason I wanted to watch it is because, as I've said before, the whole genre of horror never really appeals to me. It seems to be quite a lazy and boring medium. Nothing ever's changed, and I believe although I didn't like Unfriended too much, it was doing something with the platform, and it was that alone by itself was kind of exciting, and I gave it a lot of leeway. And although this isn't the first horror film to be in 3D, it's the first horror film I went to watch in 3D, and I was genuinely excited because what's better than a jump scare that almost feels like it's in the room with you.
Sure, the theatre, but okay.
The theatre. I mean, I did watch Woman in Black in a theatre, and that was horrifying.
Is that actually a play now?
It was a book. No, it was a play originally.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a film.
No, it was a book. It was a play. And
how uneducated am I?
I'm fucking retarded. So at no point would I say that it's any good in this. Truthfully, I didn't notice much of the 3D in this film, or if anything, it wasn't used for any of the horror effects.
Well, when it was first established, that's all they did. That's all the film was. Like Spy Kids, it's like, ooh, man.
But you didn't watch Mad Max in 3D, like you said on the episode. But Mad Max did a really good use of it, not making it too obvious, but at the same time using it at really stylish points.
Which I would expect out of a 3D film.
Suppose,
not to make it a gimmick.
Horror films jump scares, they jump at you, and you think you could easily, let's say a creature's face comes at you, you'd expect to see that in 3D. A hand comes up and grabs you, you'd expect to see that in 3D.
Sure.
It maybe is, but it's not used to its fullest extent, and maybe again that's just laziness on the genre. Obviously, like I said, it follows the quips of the old one. We follow this little girl who has the ability to talk to ghosts. Poltergeist in this term, and the poltergeists use her as a vessel to start wreaking havoc on this family.
Does she see dead people?
I mean, the whole family sees dead people at some point.
Okay.
There's no spoilers here because you can't really spoil with a horror film except for the fact that do they get out or not. The poltergeists are because the little girl is so pure at the age of 6, she has no judgment, she has no wrongdoings. They want to use her to find the light, and the reason for this is because, as of obviously, the house was built on a burial ground, a cemetery,
yes.
and when they moved the cemetery, they didn't actually move the bodies. So a load of dead with the injustice that they've received still lie under there.
Quite pissed
and they're
off.
trying to use a little girl to find the light so they can finally die. They're almost in like a very limbo.
Got you.
So a bit about each character. Sam Rockwell plays this father who... This is my main quip with the film. They seem to be quite poor, and that's why they've had to move to a lesser neighbourhood. But the film likes to add in these little elements that fill out the film, but feel too big to never mention again.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
You kind of lose me
So,
a little
for
bit.
example, he's poor, and they know that's poor, and he goes to a shop to buy some traps for this squirrel that's in their attic. And he goes in there and he tries one card, denied. Tries another card, denied. Tries a third card, it's finally through. He's sitting in the car, he's really angry, he's frustrated, he's banging on the steering wheel. He's like, I can't support my family, I'm poor.
Sure.
And then he returns home and he's bought his son a drone with a camera. He's bought pizza for the whole family. He's bought a new iPhone 6 for his daughter. He's bought some diamond earrings for his girlfriend. And it's obviously trying to show that, he goes, I think we should deserve a treat. That's not a smart move, but at the same time, that never played on ever again. You don't even hear about them being poor throughout the whole film.
Do you reckon that was like a plot point, or was that just a bit
Maybe
of
it was
inconsistency?
a deleted scene. They took some things out, but it was just generally unneeded, unwanted.
Sure.
Everything just seems to be very, very coincidental. Like, this is this because of this is this because of this, and then becomes my main quip with the film, in the fact that the first 15 minutes or so are quite boring because it's obviously just set up. That's a horror film.
Sure.
Most horror films don't get that perfect, and in all fairness, I wouldn't know where to start. But after that, it does some really good building up of scares.
Okay.
There's some jumps. There's some things are banging on the windows. Some really scary noises. At one point, they're messing with the girl's phone, and she uses the interference to try and get a better picture of where they're coming from, and she ends up putting it to the ground, and it's kind of scary. Like, when is this finally going to boil over? Yeah. And then automatically, its problem is when it starts mortalizing the poltergeist. Do you know what I mean by that?
What, bringing them back to life, or
mortalizing in the way of giving them a body, but I don't mean literally. I mean giving them a figure. So in the figure
Exorcist
of
style,
kind of giving them a form in the way of the clowns. Once they they take over the clowns, and the clowns are scary and they're running around the room, and once they do that bit, I cease to be scared anymore. My girlfriend was gripping my arm the whole way, and she hurt me a couple of times, like tearing my arm off. But once they got mortalized, like I just said, she just ceased to hold on, maybe because she didn't like me anymore.
Maybe.
Maybe at that point she realised her love for me was not real.
Probably. I get that sort of vibe around you as well.
Yeah, you stopped holding my hand at some point.
2 years now, and I'm just sick of seeing you.
No, she just not stopped being scared. When it mortalised, the other example is the tree. The tree's quite scary, but once the tree starts moving in and out and around, smashing through the window, you're no longer scared.
Is it a bit over the top, do you think? Or?
I wouldn't say it's over the top. I feel like it shows too much. I think the horror films, positive aspects, and it's enforced the horror by showing less and what's it called now? Giving the expectation of more.
I'd say so. Yeah, less. Yeah, that's a good way of saying it. Yeah, less is more in the horror genre.
It definitely is.
It's definitely that suspicion.
It's all
of
about
what could
sound and cinematography,
because that plays upon the emotion of you don't know what it could be. Anything. It could be your greatest fear.
Because
it's
a
not
person's
painting that
worst
for you.
nightmare is their imagination.
Yeah.
Once you mortalise something, like I've been saying, you have a clear image of what it is. It's worse that you don't know what it is.
These words will be engraved by the two scholars of the Real
View,
podcast.
Jordan Jones and Alessandro Mascati.
Yes. So do you like the film?
I really don't think I did.
Okay.
I struggle between a 4 and a 5. I think I'll give it a 5.
How is that?
I have been too harsh lately, but it's definitely a 5. It's not a film I'd watch at any point. Definitely not my favourite horror. I mean, there's plenty of horrors before this that were miles better. Even Evil Dead in 2013,
Probably the original
I believe.
Poltergeist as well, eh?
I didn't watch that.
Oh, okay.
Even 2013 Evil Dead was miles better. but it's not something I'd recommend even to a horror fan. If anything, I would recommend it less to a horror fan.
Thank you, Alessandro, for that riveting review. And remember, if you want more stuff like that, head over to realview.libsyn.com. That's where you'll find more shows, hour-long episodes of the two of us engaging in bants. Also, www.facebook.com/RealViewRadio is a place to be to keep up to date with everything that we're doing. It's got to hurt to smile that much, surely. I never see you smile outside of this. You smiling now hurts. You've kept this up for about 30 seconds. I don't even think he's alive anymore. Does that mean I don't have to do this show anymore?